Hello, welcome to Geeky Hijinks, home of the Mischief Makers, and today we're looking at Smile. So Smile is written and directed by Parker Finn and starring Sosie Bacon as a vegan, that's a terrible last name, Jesse T. Usher and Kyle Gallner. So after witnessing a bizarre traumatic incident at work, Dr. Rose Cotter, who's played by Sosie Bacon, a vegan hater, starts experiencing frightening occurrences that she can't explain to anyone without coming across as crazy. So Rose must confront her troubling past in order to survive and escape this new and horrifying reality. Now, I went into Smile without watching any trailers, any sort of marketing, nothing. And anyone that goes into watching horror these days, stay away from trailers, because I would hate to be a director of a horror film or involved in the whole production, because the trailers give away the frightening parts, and after watching this film and then catching the trailer after, they give the best parts away, so no trailers. But I had seen the posters on the buses on the sides of the road with the girl and a big smile, and I was getting Truthful Dare or Bye Bye Man vibes, and those films weren't good, so I was going to this just expecting rubbish. So the question you're probably asking yourself is this film even scary? Like am I going to go there and to be bored? And I would say, watching it like blind, no trailers, no nothing, I jumped every single time the film wanted me to. Now unfortunately there was a lot of jump scares, and one in particular that was so lazy it got me, but I was like, so unnecessary. But the others were good, and I found the film was more scary when it was quiet. Ironically enough, when it was in the dark and there were longer shots and you're following our main protagonist, Rose, around certain buildings or a house, and it was those moments where I was most scared. Don't get me wrong, there are some amazing jump scares and great effects that can go with them, but generally, yeah, sometimes, I've said it before of horrors, less is more. Now the one thing this film did remind me of a lot, there was two films actually, It Follows and, oh god, I had it in my head a second ago and it's gone, Drag Me to Hell. Now, completely different, but when you watch this film, if you don't think of the movie It Follows, or if you haven't even seen it, they're very similar. But for me, I believe It Follows was had a bit more finesse in the way it pulled it off, because in the film It Follows, you got this entity that follows you around. So basically, you would say a guy would sleep with a girl, and instead of passing on a sexually transmitted disease, he'd pass on an entity that would then follow her no matter where she went or he went until they were dead. So it kept getting passed on and passed on. Similar like premise in Smile, but with a little bit of a difference, and as effective as it was, it's something we've all seen before. But I still had a good time with it. And I also mentioned Drag Me to Hell. Now, the problem with Smile was, with Drag Me to Hell, you could feel the escalation. So when the girl gets cursed from Mrs. Ganoush, I think the gypsy woman's name was, each day that went by, you could feel the intensity of her situation. All these spirits and scares that were coming into her life, you could feel each day was getting worse. In Smile, each day was meant to be getting worse, but you never really felt it. So even though the entity, the antagonist of Smile was great, it was very inconsistent as to when it appeared, and it kind of like didn't hold the suspense. Like in It Follows, you're thinking, god, you can't even go to sleep, because if you do, they could just climb through the window and kill you. With Smile, it just appears when it wants. But I will say the effects in this film are so effective, especially in the last act, which I really liked. And I would say this thing that is following our protagonist Rose around, it's great. Like for me, it's very impressive, and when you do get to see what's going on, I was a very happy boy. Now the acting was good in this film. Like our main character Rose, played by Sosie Bacon, she was really good. Like in the first 5 minutes I was like, I don't think I can really support this like character, but then as the film goes on, you're on their side. Although there are situations where she could have just toned it down a little bit. Like for example, I'm gonna give you a scenario, I'm gonna show two ways of doing it, and you'll kind of get what I mean. Okay, listen YouTube, this might sound crazy, but there's a blue dragon outside my house, and it tells me if I go out, it's gonna eat me, and then therefore, by eating me, I'll turn into a blue dragon, and I'll have to go after other people and eat them, and until the whole world is populated with blue dragons. You've gotta help me. Now that story is crazy. You wouldn't believe me, but it's better than this. And that's kind of what Rose does. There are times where it's like, chill lady, talk to us, maybe we'll understand. There was one character in this film though that didn't have to be there and didn't really fit. It was the dude that plays, what's his, A-Train from The Boys. I forget his name, but I'm gonna call him A-Train. He was in this film as Rose's partner, but his behavior was very erratic, and if you check him out the film, he wouldn't have been missed. But the cinematography in this film was great, some excellent shots. Like I mentioned, the way they framed the scares was really, really good, and the lighting, you can see things in the dark. They did seem to use this upside down shot a lot, which I think was meant to like represent her world turning upside down, but I used it a bit too much to the point I was just like, I'm gonna throw up over my popcorn. But the sound design in this film is amazing. The music, everything that accompanies this film really adds to it. But I've got a challenge for every single person that watches this in the cinema, and that challenge is oh yes, this challenge is in the credits. Now when the credits come on, they play lollipop, lollipop, ooh lolly lolly for no reason. It's not it's like a spoiler as to the film. It was such a random song to play at the end. But after that song plays for about a minute, they play what I can only describe as the creepiest music I've ever heard in my life. And I was on my own at the end of the cinema, and this music kept on playing, and it was so scary. I ran out of the cinema because it really freaked me out. So I want to see if you can stay to the end on your own with this music playing, because it really is terrifying. But overall, guys, I had a really good time with this one. Yeah, we've seen similar films before, like I mentioned with It Follows or Drag Me to Hell, but it brings something new, and it has a bit more depth. Like, it didn't turn out like a Bye Bye Man or Truth or Dare film like I thought it would. It's got a bit more meat on the bone. The scares are effective, it looks great, acted well. Like I mentioned, the music is very scary, very, very scary. So with every, I don't know why I said like that, they're very, very scary. But with everything said, I'm gonna give Smile 3.5 out of 5 Geeky Coins. So guys, that was my review of Smile. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Was it a snooze fest or the greatest film we've ever seen? Comment in the comments to let me know, because I'm genuinely interested, and if you don't drop me those likes, because it always does help. But until next time, stay out of trouble.